Hey there, guys. Jen Lormond here, exercise physiologist, mom of 3, and co-owner of Tinkler.
I'm Christina Walsh, mom of 2, physical therapist, and co-owner of Tinkler. We have a very timely topic. We're not personally projecting that it's been a high stress time for all of us work from home moms, right? Homeschooling at the same time. So this technique we're going to go over today packs a powerful punch to not only knock back stress, and we're talking about a little bit the physiology behind that because that's what makes it work. We'll also talk about the kind of side effect benefits that make it worth your time.
Yes, and it's super simple. You can do it anywhere. And with things opening back up, it's kind of like what you want to do, which is breathe deeply. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. And so today, that is what we're talking about, is not just any type of breathing. Obviously, we all know how to breathe, but specifically diaphragmatic breath work and why it works and why it's important and why it might even help you lose weight. And that's for real.
Yep. So it's simple, guys. Okay, simple, not simple. Like Jen said, we all know how to breathe, but so often because of stress, we end up doing breathing that looks more like this.
Yeah.
Your shoulders should not go up and down when you breathe. That's absolutely unnecessary, and it adds to a lot of neck tightness, which I personally struggle with, so I really want to stay away from, and I know I'm not alone with that issue. So when you get into some good diaphragmatic breath work, it actually physiologically intercepts that fight or flight response in your body. It basically decompresses your vagus nerve, which comes out at the base of your skull, goes down to your diaphragm, and basically touches in some way every internal organ. We all feel stress in our gut. Some of us feel it in our neck because we're breathing like this. Some of us feel it in our chest. That's because that vagus nerve is the fight or flight control, and it touches all those things in our body. So with a simple 5 minutes working on breath, you can physiologically decompress that fight or flight system, and you will feel the pressure come down in whatever part of your body you hold that stress. So this is super awesome technique. And I always learn something new when I revisit this. That is one of the coolest things about it. Jen has helped me troubleshoot stuck spots I thought I had kind of gotten past with my old neck injury. She's found ribs, helped me find ribs that weren't moving. And so you can kind of self-inspect your own physiology. And we're going to talk a little bit through that quickly today as to how to do that to get the most out of this technique, decompress your fight or flight system, and get all those amazing benefits like decreasing cortisol to encourage weight loss as well.
Yeah, so the easy way to do this is going to be either, you could certainly do this standing up, but seated or laying on the floor, which PS, if you have not gone over to our website and grabbed the free 90/90, I hope that you will do that today because this breath work with that is magical. Okay, but if you're going to do this standing, which I'm going to demonstrate, what you're going to want to do is take your hands and place them on the front of your ribs and all the way around the back side. Okay, you want to not hold it like this. You want to keep your shoulders down. And as you're holding that, you're going to take a deep breath in, and you want to feel that your fingertips are moving in the front, the sides, and the back. Now, I like to teach this to folks laying down because you can feel whether or not your ribs are moving on the back side specifically, which is where most people are stuck. If you have neck pain, if you have mid-back tightness, if you know that you're having some pelvic floor symptoms, some pee leaks and urgency, you're probably compressed through your mid-back, and that just the posture that you're probably typically holding is compressing the backside of your diaphragm. So this is going to feel great to help loosen things up and actually decompress your joints. I know many women that we work with sometimes complain of tightness or sharp pain in their shoulder blades. Many women, when I'm coaching them through this exercise, will say, I feel that in my shoulder blade. That's your ribs are connected to all of that. They connect to your back, they connect to your shoulder blades, and they act as a nice decompressor for the entire body from your head all the way down to your tailbone. So taking a couple of deep breaths, and I'm going to let Christina walk you through the actual mechanics and count here, because that's where it ties back into decompressing that fight or flight system, reducing cortisol levels. So I'll let Christina talk a little bit more about that.
Well, this is something that makes the difference. So it not only is where you're directing the breath, and I love the way Jen describes getting it to the back of the ribs is the place that most of us have kind of forgotten how to breathe into, is the back of the ribs. And some of that is we often find lingering from pregnancy, because what happens at the end of that pregnancy, these ribs flare out and they kind of have to accommodate that baby in that belly. But often then we kind of forget and we start, maybe, so if you're not breathing here, you might be doing this.
You're flaring.
Your lower ribs, and these guys haven't moved well in a long time, and that is a huge component of feeling the compression in your neck, the base of your skull. And not only that, what does this have to do with your pelvic floor? A lot, because the diaphragm is the top of the box of the lower abdomen, the bottom is the pelvic floor. All of this needs to move in synchrony to function optimally. That has a huge impact on back and hip issues, as well as the bowel and bladder stuff that Jen talked about. So back to what you're saying. So the idea is that you're gonna, again, make sure you've got a finger on the back ribs, wherever you're feeling maybe tight. You wanna feel, is that rib moving? And then on the side and front as well, because the ribs have to expand in all three planes to get the bang for your buck on this. You're gonna inhale, breathe into the back of those ribs, watch your shoulders, make sure you're not doing just this, make sure you're not doing just this. Breathe into the back and side of those ribs. And then hold. That's the other key, is you got to hold the inhale for several seconds. We're not trying to get you to pass out, but you are going to feel it. Feels so good. Everything just starts to stretch and open. This is that gentle stretch for that, all that soft tissue that's learned to be so tight and that's driving a lot of pain patterns and contributing to continued cycles of stress. So you inhale slowly, you hold that nice deep breath, and you feel everything loosen and lengthen, and you feel your head getting lighter on your spine, and then you slowly exhale. And that's kind of where the power comes in.
And so for specifics, what I have found works great, and I think for many clients as well, is trying to start with a goal of breathing in for 4 counts, trying to hold it for 4 to 8 counts. That's where you're going to feel a lot of stretching in those deep intercostal muscles. It should feel really nice. And then you want to exhale for 8 counts. That's the goal that you're shooting for to really accomplish the things that Christina just talked about. I will speak specifically to cortisol levels, and maybe many of you don't know that your cortisol levels are high. I, for one, know that my cortisol levels are high. And one of the things that is helpful is if you practice this type of breath work at a consistent time each day, because our bodies are incredibly efficient machines, your body will then begin to predict, oh, around this time, she takes some time to breathe and decompress, particularly if you're doing the 90-90, where your feet and your legs are higher than your heart. Your body's gonna then be able to predict, oh, this is when cortisol levels usually begin to shift down. And even if you're not doing it, your body will then begin to adapt and begin to learn on its own how to shift cortisol levels. And this is important because high cortisol keeps you from losing weight. And I could do about a 45-minute show just on that with my own struggles, but we're not going to go there today. So
maybe we'll dive into that more another time.
Trust me, I know what I'm talking about when it comes to that.
Yeah, and the 90-90 decompression technique, again, it accompanies the breath work so beautifully, and it really packs a punch. That's on the website. It's for free, tightenyourtinkler.com, and it is a positional release. It's 5-10 minutes, and you are going to feel like you've had a self-adjustment where you didn't have to go to a single appointment for your back and your hip. All that tightness, that compression, that tweaky feeling, it's going to relieve on its own, just making gravity your friend in a very strategic way that's easy to achieve without any equipment, no tennis shoes, no sweat. You got this. Combine that with the breath work, and you're going to feel so much better in a very manageable time frame.
And I'm just going to tell you guys, this breath work is truly a reset. Like if you're going in your closet and screaming in your sweaters because you're stressed out and you don't want to yell at your kids or whatnot, this is a great opportunity to just breathe. Bringing that heart rate back down, being able to center yourself has such amazing health benefits. And that's what we want for you, is to feel better in your body. So we hope this was helpful today. If you have any topics that you'd like for us to cover, please drop that in the comments below. We're always looking for new topics that you guys are interested in. And that's it for today. See you next time.
Next week.